Hi, I'm John Mortensen. I am the owner and operator of www.petdoorstore.com, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to install a spring-loaded sliding glass pet door panel. This particular one is the ideal fast fit. It's our most economical model. Not the one you want to use in a real extreme environment, but if you have moderate weather, it does a good job and it's cheap. So, first thing to know about these doors is that they are spring-loaded. So there's two knobs up here. If we loosen these up, then you can compress the spring load, which is what gets it into the door. So let's give it a shot. Open up the slider here. This brings us to the first issue with these. A lot of the times people will put the bottom of the door in first, like so. By the way, there is a notch in the bottom of the pet door that sits on top of the rail in the sliding glass door track. So typically people will compress this and set it into the track like so. Now that works fine on this particular sliding glass door. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes if you do that, you can't compress the top down far enough to get it into the track. That's oftentimes the case when the sliding glass door is just barely, or the pet door I should say, just barely compresses enough to fit into the sliding glass door. And if that's the case, then you should do it the other way. The other way to do it is to put the top in first, and then you want to put the bottom on the outside of the house and lift it up and over into the track from the outside. The reason being is that the outside of the track will always have a shorter track wall than the inside. I guess the idea is if there's a flood or something, the water will go up to the inside track and won't actually go into the house. So if you do it that way, put the top in first, lift it from the outside in, you should be good to go. Once it's in, you just tighten these knobs back down. And what this does for you, this is one of your primary modes of security with these things. If you're on the outside of the house and you wanted to break in, you could conceivably hold the spring load down, lift the door, and then twist it out. This prevents that from happening. Once these things are locked down, you cannot pull that spring load down. So you lock those down, and then you need to put it all the way against the wall. So I like to use my foot, give a little leverage, push it all the way in there. And then you close the sliding glass door up against it. Now, it's tough to see here, but there is a gap between the sliding glass door and the pet door, and the gap is different at the top than at the bottom. In this particular case, it's tight at the bottom and it's a little bit looser at the top. So the way to adjust this out is not to use the foam weather stripping that comes with this pet door. A lot of people will call up and they'll say, hey, you sent me a pet door and you only sent me enough weather stripping to go down one side of the panel. Or in the case of a thermal panel or a quick panel, they'll say, I only got enough to go down both sides one time. Well, I think what they want to do is they want to double up the weather stripping where the gap is wider and then have it narrow at the other end. So I don't know if they're planning on cutting it in the middle or what. I'm not sure exactly what the idea is there, but it doesn't work. So the way to fix this problem is to adjust the wheel in the sliding glass door. Sliding glass door manufacturers have been around for a long time. They know what's going on. They know what the problems are with these. So the problem really is that as you open and close this door thousands of times, the leading wheel in particular will wear down. When that happens, that end of the door dips down. And so consequently the whole angle of the door changes. So usually actually you get the top hitting and you have a gap at the bottom, but the resolution is the same either way. The thing is, you need to adjust the wheel in the sliding glass door. Now, the adjustment is not very obvious, so if you were not aware that there was an adjustment, you'd never find it. Essentially, on this particular door, there is a screw that holds the sliding glass door frame together, and then underneath that there's a hole, and inside of that hole there's a screw, and if you turn the screw one way, it lowers the wheel down out of the bottom of the sliding glass door, and if you turn it the other way, it raises it into the sliding glass door. Now, since we have a bigger gap at the top than the bottom, we want to raise the wheel up into the bottom of the sliding glass door, which will take that side and move it down. And that should even it out. And we'll just make a little adjustment there. until we get it nice and tight, we get it nice and even all the way down. Okay, I need to move the camera in order to show you how to do that, so I'll do that now. Okay, here you can see the adjuster hole, and this screw here is the one that holds the sliding glass door frame together. So you don't want to mess with this one. You want to get at that adjuster hole. And again, number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, just a regular old screwdriver. Now, when you go to turn this screw here, you're actually going to be, especially like this one, I've adjusted it far enough down that the sliding glass door frame is touching the other frame. So I'm actually going to be lifting the entire weight of the sliding glass door when making this adjustment. Sometimes it can be hard to do. So what helps a lot is to take your hand and lift the door up and take the weight of the door off of the wheel to make the adjustment easier to manage. So I'm going to give this a shot here. Hopefully you can see, probably not. Okay, so we have our wheel adjusted. Hopefully you can see here that the gap is much more uniform down the side and everything is good to go. Now there is a related issue here, and that is when people get these doors and they have the gap, their initial inclination is to take this piece, which is called a draft stopper. Now this, I'm going to hold it up closer so you can see it. It's like a little squeegee blade. It's real thin. It's flexible on the end here, and then it's got this hard side down this one, which has peel and stick tape. So this thing, people get these, and they got a big gap there, and they take this, and they peel and stick it right here to cover up the gap. Well, we already know that that's not the right way to do it. You know, we want to adjust the wheel and the door. But what is this for? Well, I'll show you. This is to seal up the gap between the sliding glass door and the stationary piece. See, when the door is closed, the two frames meet in the center, and there's kind of a little fuzzy weather stripping. I'm sure you've seen it. But now that the sliding glass door is essentially open to fit the pet door in, there's a gap there, and I'll show you where this gap is. So you can see that if I put my hand right through there, you can see my fingers move. Now there's about 1 inch of a gap there, and that gap goes from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. If you live in a place that's really hot or really cold, that's going to let a lot of the outside weather in, and you don't want that. So that's what this draft stopper is meant to do. This thing peels and sticks to the back end of the sliding glass door. So you just peel and stick the tape, and then you have this cover up the gap. Now, you could really mash this into the door so that when you open it, it really is acting like a squeegee. If you do that, it will be very difficult to open up your sliding glass door. So do not use this to clean the window. Just use it to come out and just touch the glass on the other side. It's just supposed to be a windbreak, and that's all it's supposed to do. Now you can get one, a second one, and you can put it on the outside facing in. You can have a double barrier. You can do one here and then one on the back of the door. And people do that. It's really not necessary, but if you want to do that, you can, so that's an option. You can buy them on our site separately. They're in the slider parts area, but when you get your pet door, one of them is going to be included. Another issue that we have here is, it seems to be more common with the vinyl pet doors, but sometimes we'll have people call up and they'll say, the sliding glass door hits the pet door in the center, but I have a gap at the top and the bottom. And this seems to be more common with the vinyl. What's basically happening is, as you're opening and closing the door with the handle in the center here, you're essentially pulling the frame off of the glass a little bit. And so you need to push the frame back onto the glass. The way to do that, what I like to do is take a towel, roll it up really tight, stick it in the doorway here, and then close the sliding glass door on it a couple of times. That'll kind of push it back onto the glass. You can actually use a rubber mallet and smack it back on, but a lot of people are afraid to do that, and I totally understand. So the towel way is a little bit less extreme, but it works. So that's your solution there. The other thing you might notice is there's still a gap here. I mean, we adjusted the wheel, but there's still a gap. And the reason that there's a gap is because there is the head of the screw sticking out at the bottom and at the top. So if you notch the weather stripping, then you'll get a good seal all the way down. So you just cut a little bit of the weather stripping out around the screw at the top, a little bit out the screw at the bottom, and there you go. Last thing is the lock. Now this pet door, and all of our pet doors for sliding glass doors, is going to come with a sliding locking cover for the actual dog door itself. So if you don't want your dogs to use the pet door, take this guy, and it just slides out and it locks into place. You can't lift it out from the outside, but again, this is the economy model. Not the toughest lock. The lock on the quick panel and the thermal panel is quite a bit more sturdy. But really, this is just supposed to keep the dog from going in and out. Okay, so the last thing is locking the sliding glass door. So how do you do that? Well, the inclination, again, is wrong. The inclination for most people is to get a latch and hook onto this thing. Hook onto this this lock that your original sliding glass door used. Well, that doesn't work, because even if you got the latch, and you can find them at the hardware store, so if you get the right latch, bolt it onto the edge of the pet door, and get this all aligned and everything so that you can lock the two together, a thief can still just pull real hard, and you can walk right in the house. So that is not a secure method of locking the pet door. What you want to do instead of that is you want to keep the sliding glass door from moving. There's a couple of different ways to do it. This particular pet door comes with a pin lock. This is a pretty simple device. It's basically a bracket with a steel pin, and this pin has a little spring on it to keep it in one position or the other. What this does is it attaches to the back end of the sliding glass door, and the pin goes through the frame of the stationary piece. Now you can do it at the top or you can do it at the bottom. Either way works fine. What this really does is it uses a steel rod to connect the door to the frame, or to the jamb, if you will, which is really what your front door deadbolt does. It has a steel rod that comes out of the door and attaches to the frame. Same thing here. It's just as secure. Really a very good lock. And very simple. You can buy these from the hardware store for like $5. They come with the ideal, but they don't come with the thermal panel and the quick panel. Now the thermal panel and the quick panel, they wanted to advertise a no tools installation. So what they did was they used a clamp-on lock. So this piece, it's just a little clamp. It squeezes onto the track, and it goes right behind the sliding glass door on the floor. And with it in place, you can't move the sliding glass door because this thing won't allow the door to move. So that's fine in that, you know, if you're totally averse to using tools at all, the only tool that you need to install a quick panel or thermal panel is a pair of scissors. But if you like to use this door a lot, you actually have to get down and undo the clamp in order to open up the sliding glass door, which is not the most convenient. So a couple of things you can do. One, you can get a pin lock, which is really a good option. The next thing you can do is you can cut a stick to fit behind the sliding glass door. That's also a little bit simpler, but still you have to get down to pull the stick out. So the option that we offer is called a Charlie bar. And a Charlie bar is essentially the broomstick type of a thing, but it comes with brackets, and you can mount it 4 feet off the ground so that it's at a comfortable height. Every once in a while we'll get somebody who just can't get down there to pull the stick out, or is in a wheelchair or something like that. And for those people, having it at a nice, comfortable height is a pretty big asset. So the idea, though, is no matter which method you use, you are preventing the sliding glass door from moving. And if you cannot move the sliding glass door, the pet door is tracked. It's up inside the track here, it's inside the track on the wall side, and it's on top of the track at the bottom. You cannot get that sucker out of there if you can't move the sliding glass door away from it, or you can't compress this. And we've already taken care of that with these thumb screws. So really, these are just as secure as the, they call them semi-permanent style, like the Hale that we sell. Now the Hale and other pet doors, what they do is you screw it in, and then you lock these pieces together here. So that works too. But if you are renting, or you know, if you want to sell a house and you don't want to have to worry about the fact that you've got holes in the sliding glass door track, The temporary, this spring-loaded style is the way to go. And we always recommend this just because of the ease of installation and the fact that it doesn't mar your door. By the way, this particular pet door is white. This sliding glass door is called bronze. This is not a very dark bronze. Some of these sliding glass doors are really close to black. But this pet door does come in bronze. It also comes in silver. I just wanted to have it stand out a little bit, so I picked a white one to do this demonstration with. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of me at 866-377-3667. And you can find us on the web again at www.petdoorstore.com. And if you'd like to email us, it's sales@petdoorstore.com. Thanks for watching.